Morning, everybody. What's going on? KSA Kris here, the Real Estate Blitz, and today we're going to be talking about franchise brokerages. So I've sort of been going over some of the other ones. You know, what is a team? What is this? What is that? But we haven't talked about franchises yet. Different types of brokerages. So what is a franchise? A franchise is basically a broker had his license, her license, whatever it is, and they've decided that they want to pay or buy in some form or fashion to a brokerage that's already been created, or excuse me, a brand that's already been created, and they're paying to actually purchase that franchise. So the best way of looking at it is, king of franchises is Ray Kroc when you talk about McDonald's. And that's really what McDonald's and a lot of other places go to. If you look at a lot of these big brands that are stretching out across the nation, in one form or fashion, they're a franchise. So that's your Starbucks, right? McDonald's is a franchise. Burger King is a franchise. Jersey Mike's, right? Subs. Tons of franchises that are out there. Well, real estate's no different. Somebody says, you know, I came up with the secret recipe, just like the Colonel over at KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? They say, I have the magic recipe, and I will give you the magic recipe, but you have to do it our way. This is how we do it. And in return for using our brand, our processes, our procedures, and our secret recipe, you're going to pay us a certain amount of money. So different franchises are out there, and there's a ton of franchises. But, you know, I'll just give some of the big ones. So you got Remax. Remax is a big franchise. You have, Keller Williams. Keller Williams is a big franchise. You have Coldwell Banker. Coldwell Banker is a big franchise. Century 21. And I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. A lot of franchises. Franchises come in many different forms, fashions, and sizes. Some are small. Some are extremely big. Some have different, secret recipes. So whether it's a flat fee franchise, whether it's a hybrid franchise, whether it's just a for-profit franchise, all of them are for profit. But I think there's a difference. And what I mean by that is, so like a great example, Keller Williams is a very good franchise, and a lot of people buy into Keller Williams. And maybe what I should talk about first is why people think a franchise works. And then I'll go back to what I was just saying a second ago. So a lot of people deeply believe, and this is true, it has been true for a long time, I think it's changing, but they believe if I have this brand, and you hear agents say it all the time, well, if I was with Coldwell Banker, then people will see that I'm with Coldwell Banker and they'll want to work with me because I believe people work with Coldwell Banker agents. Well, a lot of brokers feel the same way. They don't know or don't want to figure out how to take their small boutique to become a bigger entity in the marketplace, or how to stretch out nationwide. And they don't want to come up with processes, procedures, or systems. So they just buy into a process, procedure, system franchise, right? A lot of buyers do feel that way. Older buyers, from what I'm learning. And I do a lot of surveys and ask a lot of people their opinions. And what I found is, like my mother-in-law is a great example. She's, I asked her, I says, how'd you choose who sold your house last time? She says, well, I know Remax they're a good business. Now, what we know as real estate agents, that's not always true. It's not that Remax is a bad business, but it comes down to the individual real estate agent. Even though Remax is a great system, the individual real estate agent decides if it's good or bad, the experience that's been had by the person that's buying or selling a home. It's the individual agent. Where I see some of the shortfalls is that the different brokerages are not training the individual agents, but we'll get into that. So you have different types of franchises even. Like I said, big or small. Some of them are on flat fees, some are hybrid, and some are just trying to make as much money as possible. But typically how it works is that you're going to get some type of franchise fee. So if you're an agent, you're trying to join a franchise. Not all franchises, and I'll talk about that. But most of the time, every time you get a commission check, you're going to cut a portion to the franchise. So it could be 2%, it could be 6%. I've seen it all the way up to 8%. So 8% or 6% of your profit is going to go to the franchise. Then your broker is going to get their cut. Now, it's a little bit different in more of a hybrid state, sort of like Keller Williams, where they're saying there's a fee per transaction all the way up to a certain amount of money, and then we're going to cap you, and then after that, 100% of the profit is going to be your profit. So it's a little bit different. So benefits of being with a franchise, typically, not always. And I want to be very clear on that. You need to do your research. If you're looking at a franchise as a real estate agent and you're thinking joining a franchise will help you or your business, and most young agents believe that. I personally don't believe that. However, it doesn't matter what I believe. It matters what you believe and what your decision is going to be, because every market's going to be different. In the market where I'm at, we've created, now it took time and it took money, we created our own brand and our own momentum, so we don't need a franchise in order to get business or to create business. But for young new agents, sometimes they feel like they have to be part of something like that. So most franchises are going to provide you training. Not all franchises. So you need to ask, if training is important to you and you feel like you don't know enough about this business, you need to ask, what kind of training do you provide? And don't just take their cookie cutter answer. So example, like Keller Williams says, well, we do training, I think it's like 5 days a week, the entire month. So you're talking about 5, 10, 15, 20 days of training every month. Now, if you just took that on the surface, you'd be like, wow, that's amazing, I can always get training. But you should ask questions like, what kind of training? What's the evolution of the training? Is it repeat training every month? You should be asking these questions because you don't want to get to a point where you tied your boat to somebody to get training. And not talking bad about Keller Williams, I'm just saying in general, ask questions, right? And you're capped at how much knowledge you can actually get if that was what was important to you for joining that organization. Or after a certain amount of training, do you start charging me, which a lot of places do. You got to keep in mind, most franchises are always trying to find a way to stick their hands in your pockets. It just is what it is. They're going to charge you, for not always. They could charge you for training. You're looking at, of course, inflated E&O. You're looking at the franchise fees. You're looking at, if you want to do direct mail, use our direct mail. We provide the copy, this, that, and the other, and then it's extremely expensive. I'm not saying that these things are bad at all. I'm just saying be aware that that is a truth. So most franchises will provide training. Most franchises will provide some type of mentorship program or something along those lines. Now, you'll have to pay for it. What I've seen in a lot of franchises is they'll say, this person will mentor you, and they'll help you produce, and then off of your first 3 deals, or however many it is, we're going to take, that person's going to take a portion of your profit. I think that's good and bad sometimes. Same thing, ask questions. Great, so you have a mentorship program. What is that person going to teach me? Well, they're going to teach you to produce. Great. Do you have it written down? What are they going to teach me? The reason why I say that is because I've seen a lot of people come through our doors and they've been on these mentorship programs, or we've had to go back and renegotiate with the broker and say, look, the mentor literally told them to just go knock on some doors and has given them zero mentorship, yet you want to take money from them over the next 3 deals when this person worked with them for like maybe 2 hours and didn't provide any value or did not help them actually produce any profit. But you got to ask these questions. So you're looking at, they could usually provide direct mail templates. They're going to provide some of the marketing, which is a big one. I know the Coldwell Banker up the street from us, they provide a ton of marketing value, a lot of value add. Now, not all Coldwell Bankers do that, but I know the one that's up the street does, and they do a pretty great job at it, I got to say. They're going to provide you the brand. They're going to help you out with some of the design work. Usually the brokers are pretty well put together and they can assist you as well. And you're kind of tied into an organization that usually feels like a pretty good team. So you have a little bit of a support system there. So my overall view of franchises, I think franchises are good. I definitely can't say anything extremely negative about them, but depending, and like I said in other ones when I talk about flat fee brokerages or anything like that, or I haven't talked about boutiques yet, but I will. It comes down to, what do you want? What are you trying to accomplish? If you've already established a brand and you're already a seasoned agent and you already have a book of business, a franchise may not be for you. You may think it is for the simple fact that, oh, well, if I have this brand, maybe it'll get me more business. It might. But you really got to take that in consideration. Maybe a flat fee is best for you so you have more money so you can market for yourself. If you're a new agent and you don't have much of anything and you really want more direction, a franchise might work extremely well for you, at least to start, and then if you grow and change. Some people are, even when I come to franchises, let's say you want to build a team. Some franchises are actually getting it. Most franchises don't, and the reason why is because they just don't get it. They don't understand the team concept, and they aren't very supportive of it because they feel like it's taking business from the broker, but it's complete opposite and absolutely not true. I would say if you're looking to build a team or you have a team, Keller Williams, and you want to join a franchise, Keller Williams has a pretty fantastic model that not only will help you build your team and create a mega team, but will help you expand nationwide through other Keller Williams offices. Coldwell Banker is on a big hustle right now. They're buying out a lot of teams. They make offers. to producing teams. They made an offer to us. I know 3 friends of mine who had teams that have received money from Coldwell Banker, along with some benefits to join Coldwell Banker instead of being on their own or at a flat fee brokerage. We chose not to do that just because we have different plans. But Coldwell Banker is building a team model. So if you're looking to build a team or you have a team and you want to be part of a franchise, in my opinion, those are the 2 best right now. None of the other franchises really get it, and they don't support it, and they don't adjust in order to keep the team model profitable for the team and also for the brokerage. My opinion. So with that said, that's a quick overview on franchise brokerages. And if you have any questions, look, I am always open. You can drop something in the comments down below. I'll always reply back to you. You can give me a call on my cell phone. You can send me an email, whatever it is. If you don't have my number or want my email, you can usually find it in other threads, or just hit me up on the post down below and I'll send it to you. With that said, do me a favor, like, share, comment. Hit me up on YouTube. Hit me up on Facebook. And pretty soon we're going to have the website up. We're also going to have the podcast up, which is going to be kind of cool because on the podcast, I'm going to be strictly interviewing people that are either producing, I'm going to be interviewing entrepreneurs, and I'm going to be basically coming, but not the same crap that you keep hearing. If you haven't watched enough of the Blitz, then you may not know what this is all about. This is kind of like the stuff that are the truths of this business. And that's really what I want to make sure that as I'm interviewing people, we put on there. And some people that aren't even in the real estate industry that can give great perspective on growth, because I'm a deep believer that when it comes to building a business, whatever it is that you're selling, because we're all in sales, that is the commodity. But all entrepreneurs kind of go through some of the same struggles. So I'll be bringing on some people that are extremely wealthy, that have built some extremely big brands that are extremely recognized. So that'll help you with building your business. But outside of that, do me a favor, like, share, comment. If you have any questions, hit me up. And if you have any episodes or things that you want me to talk about or bring in somebody, let me know, man. I'd love to know, find out what you want to hear about. Thanks again, KSA Kris, Real Estate Blitz, and we'll see you tomorrow.